Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Self-Dwelling with Tactics podcast. Today, we're not going to go through Transcend by Scott Barry Kaufman. I at least think maybe I'm going to decide. Well, I'm going to go through it. Because the whole thing is, I do not feel too great today, mentally, to be honest. Physically, yeah, quite fine. But, maybe there's a correlation between those two. I don't really know. And I, by the way, also hope that by having a microphone like this, it is going to be even better in terms of the sound quality, in terms of what I can get out of it. Maybe just a bit less. I don't know. Well, I think it should be fine. And I should also sit up a bit. I at first thought, well, I do not want to go through this more serious book, and I maybe do want to do something rather delightful or rather comedic or whatever you want to call it, a bit more funny than going through a very, very, very serious book. But I don't know, like in the end, I'm going to have more work just doing something else now than when I'm just sticking to this because, in terms of then publishing everything and editing everything and whatnot, it's just going to be fast if I'm doing it in this way. But I don't really know where I've stopped. Yeah, I have indeed stopped with healthy selfishness, I think. And I'm even actually not that sure if this is gonna work as I want it to work. And I also do not want to use my phone since I then have to copy the file from there to there and just, have to deal with that shit. And when I'm recording like this, with my rather shitty headphones, then I do not have to deal with that. Do not have to think about that, which is quite the amazing thing. But I do have a lot of concerns today, to be honest, about money. I mean, since I'm in my own flat right now, I do think that I might be spending a bit too much money on food, even though I'm trying to restrict myself as much as I possibly can. But I don't know, like there's certain things that I just want to have. Like I do want to eat healthy, and I do want to just also have enough food, and I just need quite a lot of food. And unfortunately, I might also be choosing the wrong food there. I might be able to just pick something else and be a bit more satiated. It really is difficult. It really is difficult to deal with things right now because I feel like that there is always something going on that I could be concerned about. Like, okay, I do not even want to have a look at my fucking bank account, because I don't want to see numbers drop. Period. I'm working, and well, I could work more, but in the end, it is. I don't know. Like I could just work more, which might in the end or overall is gonna make me feel a bit better about things in general. But I do want to also have some free time, and I don't want to necessarily hate my life in these days of work, which I do to some degree, which is due to me thinking in that way, obviously. But I also think about me using my computer all day long, and I should actually kind of restrict myself from sitting there and just having this run all fucking day long, which I've actually done yesterday quite. And, sometimes it is just really unnecessary, and it is costing me, probably a bit of money, I'd say. Anyway, purpose in brackets, and it is not the fucking brackets, but growth need. Should I actually kind of keep it closer? I should actually check that, in which setting, in which distance to my mouth it is the best to have the microphone. But I think with this setup, it is at least better than just having it dangling on my fucking neck, even though this is just, really in front of me. Maybe I should also do it like this. Then I have to turn this piece of shit. And I don't yet know how to do so. I could essentially do it like that. And now it is just really in front of me without just being in the way, I hope. I don't know. Anyway, the need for purpose can be defined as the need for an overarching aspiration that energizes one's efforts and provides a central source of meaning and significance in one's life. Having a purpose often causes a fundamental reordering of the most central motives associated with the self. Things that once preoccupied you suddenly cause you little concern and may even seem trivial. Strengths and personality. In trying to figure out the deeper aspects of yourself that are the best within you, i.e. your best selves, it might be helpful to assess your quote-unquote signature strengths, or the particular aspects of your personality that you yearn to use, that enable authentic expression and that energize you and give you a sense of vitality. These include your various talents and your character strengths, those aspects of your personality that specifically contribute to the good life for yourself and for others. And I mean, it is something that I've just been also trying to cover before, but in the end, we all have strengths and we all have talents. They might not be that obvious as for other people, for example, but I think that, or I actually know that we all are good at something and extraordinarily good at something. Whatever it might be, some people are just really compassionate. Some people are pretty athletic. Some people just know how to use their hands. There's a word for it, but I don't know it. And so on and so forth. Like, it really is something that we all have. It really is something that we all can do, and we all can access and use to some degree. Some people more and some people less. Of course, when you're really athletic, the chances of you making money with this born with talent might be a bit higher than when you're just really compassionate. On the other hand, being compassionate can be used in various ways, whereas being athletic might just only be used in the sense of, or in the context of sports. Like, everything does have ups and downs and all benefits and disadvantages quite. Synergy and isomorphism. One major threat was the idea of synergy, which fascinated Maslow. It was a term he first learned from his friend and mentor, anthropologist Ruth Benedict, one of the main inspirations for his work on self-actualization, because he viewed her as so self-actualizing. Benedict referred to synergetic cultures as those that are holistically structured and function for mutual benefit of the individual and the larger society, which, if you think about it, in the end is kind of the optimal way to just do things in a society. Like, in the end, you as an individual can grow, but simultaneously the whole and or the large society is going to benefit from it as well. So in the end, it is a win-win. In the end, it is benefiting everybody. Placing this notion within an organizational context, Maslow argued that in an enlightened or Euphysician workplace, meaning an environment conducive to self-actualization, that which is good for personal development is also good for the company. It kind of might be a theme that that is just I don't know the fucking word, but I'm just seeing it everywhere in this book. But for the long term, yeah, obviously it is going to be quite good for the company if people develop and are able to develop, whether it is soft skills, hard skills, whatever it might be. It is just going to benefit the company long term, period. It is what it is. One can't do too much about that. But in the short term, it might also cost the company a bit more in terms of giving the employees a bit more time to do so, which is obviously going to cost more then, because if they spend more time on personal development, then they do not have as much time they can use for quote-unquote proper work, or the work they actually should be doing. On the other hand, it doesn't necessarily have to mean that just because you're working on yourself and you're trying to develop yourself, that you're not going to do the work that you are supposed to be doing. This really, I think, evolves, and just the basis of this whole thing is being able to structure things very, very well. and deal with things very, very well, I would say. Under ideal conditions, there would be isomorphism, a mutual selection between the personal and his self-actualizing work, his cause, responsibility, call, vocation, task, and so forth. That is, each task would call for just that one person in the world most uniquely suited to deal with it like a key and a lock, and that one person would then feel the call most strongly and would reverberate to it, be tuned to its wavelength, and so be responsive to its call. There is an interaction and mutual suitability like a good marriage or like a good friendship, like being designed for each other. Abraham Maslow. I don't know what reverberate means. Echo, re-echo, repeat, resonate, resound. I see. Self-actualizing work transcends the self without trying to. Self-actualizing work is simultaneously a seeking and fulfilling of the self and also an achieving of the selflessness, which is the ultimate expression of real self. The ordinary dichotomy between inner and outer is so resolved, according to Maslow, because the cause for which one works is introjected and becomes part of the self, so that the inner and the outer world fuse and become one and the same. Self-actualizing people are without one single exception involved in a cause outside their own skin, in something outside of themselves. They are devoted, working at something which is very precious to them. Some calling or vocation in the old sense. They are working at something which fate has called them to somehow, and which they work at and which they love, so that the work, joy, dichotomy in them disappears. So it's just joy, I guess, then in the end, Happiness is a byproduct. I'm also willing to go through that one before healthy transcendence is going to be the next part of it. To Maslow, those who were most self-actualized pursued their calling, not happiness. Nevertheless, he pointed out that happiness often comes as a result anyway. Happiness is an epiphenomenon, a byproduct. Something not to be sought directly, but an indirect reward for virtue. The only happy people I know are the ones who are working well at something they consider important. I want to just cover that in a bit. If you deliberately plan on being less than you are capable of being, then I warn you that you'll be deeply unhappy for the rest of your life. You will be evading your own capacities, your own possibilities. Abraham Maslow, the father reaches of what? The father. Not father like my dad, but father with an R, father. Reaches of Human Nature from 1971. In his classic book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl wrote, and not Frankl or something, it's Frankl since it's German and because he's Austrian, wrote poignantly about how he witnessed that the ones who were most likely to survive in the concentration camps were those who believed there was a task waiting for them to fulfill. He argued that those who see a greater meaning in their lives are able to transform a personal tragedy into a triumph, to turn one's predicament into human achievement. And so I do want to hit on this one and on the one thing that I meant before, which is they consider it important. They consider something important, and I do want to underline consider. If you do not consider something to be important, then the whole thing is fucked. It's just not working, period. And this is, I don't want to say a problem, but this is important to notice and important to think about, at least at my point of view. And it is something that I've been deeply struggling with for as long as I know. And I don't necessarily know what it might be due to, but I do have a very big problem in seeing reasons, and or importance in what I'm doing, whatever it might be. Besides work, then I don't think about that, like actual work, like me just doing my job, that I'm employed for, or school things / university things. I do consider these two to be of importance. When I'm doing the podcast, I don't necessarily think this is important. It's just something that I do and something that I want to do. I don't see any importance in it. Maybe just also because I do not see the benefits that I'm getting out of it. It's for sure not going to be financial. It's kind of the opposite. I'm actually losing money while doing so, because of electricity and whatnot. Of course, I might be learning a lot. I might be able to spend some time that I would, spend in some other way if I wasn't doing the podcast. Probably in a way that is going to serve me even less. But what is going on? Again, I don't even know if you can hear that. Maybe you can. Anyway. And also transforming a personal tragedy into triumph by seeing a greater meaning that you have in your life. This is also something that you do by thinking in a different way and by just kind of persuading yourself. And it is something that at this point in time, I'm just unable to do. No matter what the fuck I'm doing, I'm always seeing the meaninglessness in it. Whether it is the podcast, okay, I'm doing it and I might be learning something by doing it. I might be able to spend some time and, just let time pass. But I don't even feel too bad about the podcast. I also don't feel too bad about designing every day. I did get some client work from that. But, when I'm riding my bike, when I'm working out, whatnot, this is just some things that I think are important for me. But they aren't important. They really are not. It's just something that I want to do and something that I just do, period. I don't have to do it, I could also do less. I could also just, not worry about my physique that much as I'm doing at this point in time. And I'm, I don't know, like in the end, it might also be able to be boiled down to those fears that I'm having, the fear of losing too much money and actually, because obviously when you move a lot, when you work out a lot, you're going to be quite hungry. And if you also want to build a bit of mass, then it's going to be kind of costly to do so. And also the podcast, as I said, it's just costing me quite some money, I would say, and also energy. And I don't know if I could be doing something smarter than that. I don't know if I could be doing something more important than that. But I don't know, like, it is just very important and worthwhile thinking and challenging your thinking, challenging your thinking in a way that you actually think in ways that are going to serve you, because whatever I am doing is for sure not serving me at all. It's rather hindering me from actually, first of all, being happy and feeling good about myself and feeling good about my life, really. Don't do that. Just don't. Think about the things that you do, and it is actually also something that my therapist told me, like, there's always multiple ways in which you can think about things. When I'm riding my bike, and I told him, like, I always think that it is quite meaningless, whatever I'm doing, whatever it might be. But he said, at least when you're riding your bike, at least, for example, you're trying to combat boredom. And yes, that's for sure the case. I would be bored if I wasn't doing that. And, probably also with the podcast, I might even be a bit unhappy, at least I'm trying to do something. But yeah, in the end, it always boils down to your thoughts and how you view things. And this is indeed something to work on, and it is indeed something to monitor. And it is also indeed something to just change if it is not serving you, and something that one needs to be working on, I would say. It would at least make sense in the end. But anyway, the next time we're going to go through healthy transcendence. I do hope that I've been able at least to give you something with this podcast episode. I don't really know, like, numbers are not necessarily going up, which might also be due to my efforts. Gonna see you the next time. Bye-bye.